Hello, the MACKEM Cabbie here on this heat wave Tuesday, 30 degrees. So then, just heard on, listening to Total Sport that Sunderland won't be getting an experienced striker. Now, I'm not going to be too pessimistic, but it is a huge gamble to think like what we've got is going to be enough. I mean, yes, time will tell. Will Mienda or Isidore or Gui hit the ground running? But before we talk about it any further, this is what was said on Total Sport tonight with Nick Barnes. Here we go.
Some issues with it. He's a Sunderland supporter. He said, "Who's this striker then that's coming in?" I went off to the gym mainly to have a shower because Michael was fixing the shower. Andrew runs the gym. He's a Sunderland fan. He said, "Who's this striker that's coming in?" We had information yesterday about a striker potentially coming in. However, it may not be the case.
Well, yesterday's timeline, reports suggested there was going to be arrival of a mystery player by plane yesterday to Sunderland signing. Now, we had several sources tell the BBC the player was a recognised striker. It turns out that wasn't the case. Now, it gets quite interesting. I understand the club are not pursuing a striker at the moment. That is not one of the players they're looking to sign. They were a couple of weeks ago. Presumably that Guillau's come in now that is the case, that they don't want to pursue another striker. But by coincidence last night, I was contacted by someone who told me that a plane that was due to fly in from Italy had been cancelled. Now, connected? Who knows? It might be just coincidence. But after the timeline of events during the day, what we were led to believe and what I'd seen on social media and other people had seen on social media, it led to those conclusions. Look, these things happen, bum steers, whatever you like to call them. But something obviously sparked it yesterday.
It may have been good information, but then they changed their minds or something fell through and they've decided, right, we're not going to spend any money on a striker.
That's whatever happened, it happened. But I have it on good authority that they're not pursuing a striker.
Which one?
Well, there we go then, from the wonderful Nick Barnes himself. We're not going to be getting that experienced striker. I mean, I've already put a poll on the MACKEM Cabbie page, and as to be expected, it's literally 100% saying yes, we do need that experienced striker. I'm very, how can you go from saying, it's inevitable, we're going to be getting an experienced striker, going to be unveiled very soon. All the Sunderland fans getting excited, and then there's an announcement that we're not. Like, something doesn't add up, does it? I mean, we need that experience up front. We've got the experience at the back. We've got the experience midfield with Granit Xhaka. We need that type of experience up front. And I say we ain't got that. I mean, Gui, Mienda, Isidore, they've not really sort of been tested at all in the Premier League. Now, we all know Isidore, Mienda, they've definitely got it in the locker, the finishing that they can do. But they've also, in the Championship, they've gone missing for quite a few number of weeks. And, some say Mienda, he's been missing some sitters in friendly games. Yes, he did score that absolute quality goal at Wembley, and he has scored some cracking goals. Same with Isidore as well. Gui, I don't know much about, but it looks like they're putting the trust in Gui. Maybe he's possibly doing the business. I don't know, but I do think it is very, very risky, and I hope, still do, that we do get an experienced striker because, I've really been, on a high with what we've been doing in the transfer business, and that was just sort of a bitter pill to swallow. Listening to that, saying like we won't be getting an experienced striker. You know, and I do think it's a risky thing to do, to go into the Premier League. You know, it's such a leap. It's a massive jump from the Championship to the Premier League. And to gamble with Mienda and Isidore, I think it's definitely Russian roulette. And me personally, I think it's a real bad move. Not dissing anywhere Gui, Mienda or Isidore, but you've got to be really sure what you're doing to, you know, if you're wanting to make a good go of the Premier League. And to me, having a gamble on Isidore, Mienda and Gui, it's not very wise. And I'll still be surprised to this day if they do stick with their decision and saying Sunderland won't be getting an experienced striker, because, you know, I mean, the friendlies, we've not really been putting them away. We might be proved wrong. I don't know. And yes, people say time can tell, but you haven't got that time. The Premier League is so harsh, isn't it? You know, the first few games we've got, I'm not going to say easy, but easier than what the other promoted teams are going to be starting off with. And the last thing we need is a goal drought at the beginning of the season. Because if we, let's say, go 5 or 6 games without scoring a goal, then we are in trouble. And I think there'll be a little bit of a backlash from the fans to say, like, you know, what you playing at? You know, gone into the Premier League without an experienced striker, which would be a shame because we've done fantastic in the signings that we've got so far. But it just seems to me there seems to be a major problem with Sunderland getting that recognised striker in. You know, we've not really done that since Ross Stewart, have we? I don't know. Let us know what you think below. But it's going to be an interesting debate, this one. Like I say, I'm not being too pessimistic, but I just think it's risky. They might do amazingly well. Mienda might hit the ground running, and I hope he does, and I hope Isidore and Gui does. But I just want that security. I want that experienced head up front, like we have midfield and in defence. And because when watching the friendly games, he's gone missing. Isidore, the last friendly game, he didn't even know he was on the pitch. But yes, it is only a friendly. So let us know what you think, and I'll reply to every single one of you. And let's see, I'm not being really pessimistic. I'm just, you know, I think a lot of Sunderland fans are going to agree with me on this one. You know, we surely can't go into the Premier League without that experienced head on the shoulders up front. It's a must, and it's a very risky thing to do. Catch you later from the MACKEM Cabbie.